gentle reminder, it's gotten word from some of the minute takers that it's sometimes difficult to hear us talk. So please do your best to speak into the microphone.
Okay.
Practice what we preach.
I'm calling the Planning Commission work session to order Thursday, December 18th, 2025. I see we have a quorum, 4 out of 7. And anybody like to make a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Liaison, you're up.
Hi. Hello, Michael Preeden. Is this working? Okay, good. Yeah, good to see you guys. Sorry I missed the last meeting. I thought it was at 5:30 and it was at 4, so I apologize for my showing up late and you guys were already home. So, yeah, I'm sure you did.
And it was a lot cooler in here, no hot air.
Yeah. City Council's been pretty busy over the last few months. You probably heard a little bit that we adopted one preference for the UGB expansion, which was A.A, and so that's all on the east side. You may have heard that that's been appealed, so we're trying to figure out what the next step is, if any, to deal with that portion of it. But other than that, we're moving forward with our application with the county as is, and we're still heading that direction. So until you hear otherwise, that's what we're doing. And so it's good that it was resolved. It was a 3-2 vote, so it wasn't a slam dunk, but now that it's been decided, it's moving that direction because that's what it was voted on. So that's all I have on that in particular. You have a question?
Can you tell us why, or what would... Can you tell us, what the issue was with it?
Yeah, I think the 3-2 vote was, I think that the three that wanted it talked about expediting the path of least resistance to get affordable housing a little quicker. And the two people that voted against it wanted to give the McKenzie Meadow Village proposition a little more time to see how that appeal went and see if there was any way to break that off more quickly. That the case is that the McKenzie Meadow Village project actually appealed the A.A choice, has made it appear that it might take a little longer to move in the direction we are. Is a little bit unfortunate, but the fact is that's the process that we use. That we live in a world where we make votes and we make decisions and things happen, and we're just going to work through it the best way possible, and that's the democratic way. So that's the way we're going. But I think that's the essence of it. The thing I would remind everybody about the UGB plan, I obviously started it by being on the UGB planning committee back in, I think that was 2019 or 2020. We all realized that this process was going to take a long time. The plan itself is for the next 20 years. While it's very nice to think about affordable housing coming online quickly, the fact is it's a 20-year plan. Some things may come on quickly, some may not. And depending on how the appeals process works, the application process works, how the future annexation works, which we haven't created all the rules for that yet either, there's still a lot of time before any new housing comes online. So what I recommend to everybody is to just be patient, and it's a reminder that government never moves as fast as anybody would like. Sometimes it moves too fast for some people. And you know what? That's okay. It is what it is. And here we are. We make decisions as best we can with the information that we have. And then we move down the line and make the next decision when it comes before us. Sometimes the process itself gets a little murky with all of the legislation from the state and the rules that we have to abide to, but the fact is it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. So I don't can't think of anything else as big as that as going on at the city level, other than we've been talking about the Northwest Park. We've had a little bit of direction on how that park's going to look like. I think we talked about phasing it, so the ice rink pavilion portion may be broken off into a phase 2, because it by itself is $9 million-ish. And so that's a big chunk and a big decision to make and a lot of money. So I think that the park may be phased in a little bit in a couple of pieces, which I think is also not a terrible choice, because when the UGB amendment comes through and that land becomes part of the city, we are going to be adding, probably 15 acres of parks, and we'll have other opportunities to spend large amounts of money in other places. So it's not the worst thing in the world to not rush the new Northwest Park over by the Woodlands as well. So again, it's some of this stuff, you just do the best you can and make the decisions when you can, and the process will happen when it's going to happen.
The ice rinks tend to have a huge maintenance component as well.
Right.
And they're expensive to keep going.
They are, and the administration of an ice rink is not something that the city is really interested in, nor is it one of the better things that we do. So we're hoping to have partnership with probably SPRD or something like that. And there's just a lot of hurdles to go through. A $9 million expenditure for an ice rink is that's a big chunk. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. There's still decisions to be made on that as well at the council level. So we'll find out what that is when that comes as well, and I'll keep you updated on that part. Is there anything else I'm missing that I need to talk about? That's probably pretty good for big pieces. Anything else?
Listen to that out there.
We may have some trees down later today, so be patient with us if we lose our power or whatever.
All the passes were closed yesterday.
Yeah, pretty crazy weather, but we're doing better than Washington's doing, so
Yeah.
keep your fingers crossed. Anyway, unless you got any questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Michael. Visitor communication. This is the time provided for individuals wishing to address the Planning Commission regarding issues not already on the agenda. Anyone here with comments or anything that? Okay.
Yeah, you have one.
Mark?
Michael?
Mark Dickens, 133 East Black Crater Avenue. Is it on?
No, but not like.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like I came at a great time here. Sorry. So I'm going to touch on a few things real quickly. Let me read something here. I would like to address the planning commissioners directly, and I'm sorry that the rest of them aren't here. The project includes creating affordable workforce housing opportunities for the growing population and a significant 3-acre public amenity for the community. This was just a portion of what the proposal was from the developer for Sisters Woodlands years ago when they got the city to rezone that property for the development. That property has failed spectacularly in meeting that housing objective as far as workforce housing. And I would be curious to know what this 3-acre public amenity to the community is supposed to be. It seems to me the city is trying to bail out this developer by spending $10 million of taxpayer money to put up this pavilion building that frankly nobody wants and the city can't afford it. So I would ask the Planning Commission to remind yourselves that you're citizens of this town. Even though you're appointed to this board by the mayor, it's not your duty or obligation to carry out anybody's agenda. I think you need to really be responsive to the citizens of the community. If you remember the Space Age gas station debacle, staff here at the city was trying to process that as a type 1 review and escape all input by the Planning Commission. And when the citizens came forward and showed that the traffic study was fraudulent, and despite the fact that the city's consultant traffic guy said it was okay, the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to vote down the project, to reject it, and the applicant didn't even bother to appeal it. This is what happens when you try to put these things through, and if we really want to talk about the democratic way, then the citizens need to vote on these things. This isn't things that should be done behind closed doors or through type 1 reviews. You just look at the track record. I watched a few years ago a 9-lot subdivision in my neighborhood be granted to Bradley Tisdall, which you all know has a very cozy relationship with the City of Sisters. And he was given extremely preferential treatment in this 9-lot subdivision in my neighborhood and avoided all planning commission review. This was done by staff under this, quote, gray area. So I think planning commission needs to act as almost like a watchdog, as a firewall between city staff and council and people that also have conflicts of interest in this town, that have vested interest in the development and building and construction and design of this town, that are promoting projects that they personally and financially benefit from, and really be responsive to the citizens. You just take a look at the cold weather shelter. There was another example. When the public found out about it, there was a complete overwhelming objection to it. So again, I know this is a volunteer position, and you're, fellow citizens, but please keep that in mind here, because I think the city should do better. And there's one thing I learned in my career, beginning of my career 40 years ago. You have to be extremely conscientious when you spend other people's money, and you're spending taxpayer money. And I think that's something that the city needs to be very, very aware of. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from June 5th and August 7th, 2025. Do you have a motion to approve the
I move that we, I move that we approve both of those.
second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for taking them.
Okay, next we will proceed to the workshop, Tiny Homes on Wheels.
Okay, hi everyone. I know some of you. My name's Christine Funk, and I run and own Thompson Guitars here in town. And so for the past 10 years, we've had to bring employees in, and they're usually single people. And I've thought about tiny homes for a long time, because I thought, well, where could we put one? Because it's a very quick way to have affordable housing. If you want to find quick ways to have affordable housing, I really feel that tiny homes on wheels is the key here, is a really quick way to do that, because they're built somewhere else. They don't cost as much as like an ADU, regular construction. So I'm just going to look at my notes here real quick. So why and sisters? Well, again, apartments are really a great addition, but they're very limiting for single people. And so I think for me, as a shop owner, I have a lot of single people that are looking for a place to live. Art, right over there, houses 2 of my single guys in his building, and it's fairly affordable. So I want to thank you for that, first of all. And they've been there a long time, and they really appreciate what you built, and it works out really well for them. But things aren't really that affordable, especially in this town, Fort Bend, for a single person. You have a single person, they don't, they have to have first and last month rent, and it's just that. So tiny homes for me is a really amazing opportunity for sisters to house single people. And there's a lot of them. There's single old people, there's single middle-aged people, there's single divorced people, there's single young people. And finding roommates in sort of this day and age is quite different when I look for roommates. We've got a lot of division, and it's honestly hard to find roommates. And I had one guy try and find a roommate for almost a year, and he never found one. And especially a young person in this town, it's difficult. So for me, tiny homes seem to be on wheels, like just an interesting, out-of-the-box thinking. And I think we have to continue to think out of the box. Dylan right there, I believe we've met, and he builds tiny homes. They're not quite what I'm talking about yet. Maybe he plans on building like a true tiny home. in a fashion that someone could live for, you know, quite a long time and feel comfortable. So they're also a solution for a property owner that doesn't have $350,000 to spend on an ADU. Maybe 300, maybe 250, but I doubt it. Not in this town. So if you think about a tiny home on wheels, they average, you can get one for $60,000, $80,000, $150,000 tiny home is a pretty nice tiny home. So the actual price for the homeowner that maybe wants to provide a place for someone to live, it expands your property owners that can afford that. So, you know, I make some money, but I definitely don't make enough money to have an ADU that's $300,000. So I've thought about a tiny home on wheels for that reason as well. So then we go to like what the code is. So everyone's like, it's an RV, it's classified as a motor vehicle. It's like, it's hard to find codes and create codes around tiny homes. Well, that's also just, I think, an excuse. Los Angeles has a great code. Portland has a great code. Sitka, Alaska. I mean, you can go on and on. I have links of lots of communities that have created codes for tiny homes on wheels. So it's very important that you understand that I'm talking about something that's on a chassis that's built somewhere else and you bring it in. There's a lot of codes that say you have to put a deck around it, so you have to make it look nice. It has various, you know, the windows have to be double pane. There's all sorts of codes out there that can make this tiny home not look trashy. I mean, they're beautiful if you really take a look at tiny homes that are built these days. So there seems like there's a lot of vacant land in this town too, in Sisters. Like behind my shop, big lot. Next to my shop, like half block away, big lot. And I'm like, why aren't these people building something? Like, we need, you know, housing. We keep talking about housing. Well, first of all, I think probably they're supposed to build sidewalks. Okay, well, good luck. So there's property owners that can't afford doing all that infrastructure, so they just leave it sitting there, vacant. So the idea of taking, maybe we do some sort of like trial run, and you find a homeowner or a property owner that has a lot, and you say, look, you can put 4 tiny homes on this lot. You don't have to build sidewalks, you don't have to do all that, but you can put 4 pads, and you can get your sewer and water hooked up, and you can lease out those pads to someone that either has a tiny home or you provide the tiny home and you lease it to someone. You know, like, I'm just thinking out of the box so that these like lots aren't just sitting here forever because they can't afford to do the infrastructure to actually build something. So I drive around and you see those things, and there are a lot of people that can't afford to do the necessary development, and so that leaves a lot of people out. So just trying to think about that as well. Let's see here. You know, tiny homes, they must look like homes. They, you know, a lot of the codes, here's some codes, they have to have the basic features of a larger home. A room to sleep, a cook, and a bathroom. They have to be between 150 and 400 square feet. They must look like homes, essentially, that they can't drive on their own. We're not talking about an RV.